Bear Lake is right at the border of Utah and Idaho. It's been called the Caribbean of the Rockies because of how blue the water is. I had never been to Bear Lake before I started dating my wife. Her family goes up to Bear Lake every year. That's when I went up to Bear Lake for the first time. The water really is stunning. It's become one of my favorite places to visit. I go there every year with my own kids. There's lots to do at Bear Lake, but one common misconception is that when you go to Bear Lake, there's only lake activities. But there's actually a lot more to do at Bear Lake, and that's why I put together this video to highlight some of the fun things to do in the Bear Lake area. I partnered with several different businesses to make this video, along with a video about the Bear Lake Monster. You can look at the description of this video to check out all the links of all the places that I mentioned, and I'll differentiate which places were businesses that I partnered with and which ones weren't. But whether or not a business helped partner with me to make this video doesn't make it any less of a wonderful destination place. Right when you drive into Garden City, which is the entrance point for many people coming to Bear Lake, especially if you're coming from the south through Logan Canyon, you notice signs for famous raspberry shakes. The Bear Lake Valley is known for its wonderful raspberries. If you go to Bear Lake, you can't not get a raspberry shake. Another iconic feature of Bear Lake is the Bear Lake Monster. The Bear Lake Monster is featured on maps for tourists, as well as pamphlets, and there's iconic signs all over the place. Restaurants like Cody's Gastro Garage have the Bear Lake Monster on the kids menu so that they can color it while they're waiting. The Bear Lake Getaway is one of several places you can go to buy Bear Lake Monster t-shirts. Moose Buns, a coffee shop on the way into Bear Lake, has Bear Lake Monster sugar cookies. As I mentioned earlier, we did a whole nother video about the Bear Lake Monster, and you can watch about the history and people who have claimed to see the Bear Lake Monster. Of course, while you're at Bear Lake, you should participate in some of the lake activities. There's so much to do: swimming, fishing, boating, tubing, water skiing, kayaking, canoeing, and so much more. And you don't even need to bring your own equipment. There's equipment that you can rent if you'd like to while you're out there. But besides lake activities, Bear Lake has many other outdoor activities. Cool down at the Paris Ice Cave. Water runs into the cave all year round from the surrounding hills. Ice is in the coolest part of the cave, even during the hottest summer months. 7 miles south of the Paris Ice Cave is Minnetonka Cave. There's a 90-minute guided tour of Minnetonka Cave, which goes underground, and it has stalactites and stalagmites. Some of the stalactites and stalagmites have fun names and histories behind them. At the end of the 400 steps into the cave, the lights go off on the tour and you experience darkness in a whole new way. I don't know if I had ever been in pitch black darkness until I had been in Minnetonka Cave. It's a really fun tour. Bloomington Lake is also nearby. It's a glaciated lake with plenty of fish for fishing. There's even a rope swing there, although it may not be the safest thing to use. And access to the lake is about a quarter-mile hike. It's a pretty easy hike in my opinion, flat, but really beautiful. In addition to these outdoor activities, there's also other historical sites you can visit. If you want to see some of the historical sites in the area, you can visit the Wilford Woodruff home. Wilford Woodruff was an apostle and one of the presidents of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and he was one of the early pioneer settlers. You can tour his home and see the historic artifacts that are still there. You can also take free tours of the Paris, Idaho Tabernacle. It's one of the first worship centers of the early white settlers in the area. You can learn about the tabernacle and see monuments in the area. There's also a National California Oregon Trail Center where you become members of a simulated wagon trail and hear stories of immigrants who traveled the Oregon Trail in the 1840s. While you're out visiting all these locations, hiking, outdoor activities, lake activities, historical sites, etc., you're going to get hungry. One of the best places to eat is Cody's Gastro Garage. The restaurant is right in the heart of Garden City, and it has an old car theme, with light fixtures made from old license plates, old cars displayed in the ceilings, and an open patio during the warm months. It's a great place for all ages. I personally love their pancakes and breakfast burritos. My favorite dinner was the delicious jalapeno bacon macaroni and cheese. It was a fun, unique twist to a traditional comfort food. Other wonderful places to eat are featured in the description of the video, including Hometown Drive-In. Moose Buns is a newer coffee shop to stop by on your way in or out of Bear Lake. It has many different breakfast and lunch foods, as well as a gift shop next to the coffee shop as well. They even have a drive-in, which is perfect if you need somewhere to stop on your way in or out of the Bear Lake area. Stop by Moose Buns and check out their Bear Lake Monster cookies. Besides getting hungry, you'll also need a place to rest and sleep. Two places I recommend staying are the Bear Lake KOA, which has room accommodations for any size. They have nice locations for bigger families or multiple locations close together for multiple families. It's close to nature. There's one-room accommodations with bunk beds if you want to stay there with a couple of friends or just want a cheaper option. One thing I like about Bear Lake KOA is that it's right next to a grocery store, and right next to that is Ace Hardware store in Garden City. If you have your own boat or if you have your own cabin on the lake, then sometimes you need to make repairs, and the Ace Hardware store is the perfect place to go to meet those needs. The Ace Hardware store also has other things that you wouldn't think of that you may have forgotten to pack. They've got fishing poles, they've got umbrellas, they've got camping equipment, they have outdoor equipment. And so if you think that you forgot to pack something, instead of being tempted to drive all the way out of the Bear Lake Valley, check the Ace Hardware store in Garden City because they probably have what you're looking for. And besides Bear Lake KOA, there's a hotel being built called Water's Edge Resort, which will be behind Cody's Gastro's Garage restaurant. They currently have condos up above and kind of next to Cody's Gastro Garage, which overlook the lake. The rooms are beautifully furnished with expansive windows, private bathrooms, appliances, a full kitchen, and outdoor deck. They are beautiful and book up very quickly. Check in advance if you want to book a room. One thing I like about the room accommodations next to Cody's Gastro Garage in the area there is that you can wake up in the morning and literally walk right to Cody's Gastro Garage for breakfast. If you want more entertainment, there's live theater in Pickleville, there's a movie theater, there's bowling, there's go-kart racing, and other fun, entertaining options. Although summer is definitely Bear Lake's busiest season, there are fun things to do all year round. This includes fishing on the lake, snowmobiling, and they even have a Bear Lake Monster Winterfest. Many restaurants and other locations are closed during winter. However, Cody's Gastro Garage and Moose Buns are open all year round. Hotels are also available in the winter. I grew up living only a couple hours away from Bear Lake. I wish I would have discovered it sooner. I've only been going there for the past 5 years, and only recently did I discover that there are many more fun things to do at Bear Lake than just the lake. This video has barely scratched the surface. Please feel free to comment on any other attractions or reasons why Bear Lake is one of your favorite places to go.